So we're at a massive 12 degrees centigrade today, 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds like it's a good day for cutting the grass. Hello everyone, welcome to HujiProductions. Today we're going to be working on the Morris Minor again, and we're going to be looking at trying to reduce the amount of fumes getting into this cabinet here. Cabinet? Well, you know, driver's area, passenger area. So we're going to tackle it in two ways. One is to try and reduce the number of holes in the bulkhead, so to stop any fumes that are going directly from the engine bay into the compartment here. And the other thing is trying to reduce any fumes that are leaking out of the exhaust system. So I have a box of goodies. We have not going to slide out. Hang on. We have a exhaust manifold gasket. So let me faff around with this for a sec and show it to you. Right. So it's that. So the car is a pre-crossflow engine. So you've got the exhaust and the inlet manifold holes coming in and out of the same place. That didn't make sense, right? So a more modern engine would have a crossflow where the inlet and the outlet are on opposite sides of the engine, and on the older cars they tend to be on the same side like that. So you've got a series of holes here, and some of them are inlet and some of them are outlet. So some of them are for the exhaust manifold as well as the inlet manifold. And I'm also going to try using some exhaust jointing paste, because exhaust manifold to the actual exhaust, the downpipe, is likely to be difficult to seal up, and I've got a new clamp. It's just a pressed steel one, this one. I'm not sure whether it's going to be good enough, but we can at least try. So I'm going to quickly show you some of the holes I think that I've tried to block up. So here we are in the engine bay, and you see where all of these wires come in and out. Some of the grommets here were not very good, and some in here there's random holes everywhere. There's a big hole down there. I'm not sure what normally goes through there, but that was completely open, so that's now closed up. And there were some little holes like this one here and here which are now closed up. So I'm just trying to make sure that all the holes have got grommets on, and hopefully that will stop any fumes going straight from here into inside. And as I said, I'm going to take off the right. So I've already done undone the exhaust. So this is currently off. That will need some paste and a clamp around it there, and then on the manifold area, so you've got the inlet and exhaust manifold held on sometimes by the same nuts, and it's that gasket inside there that I'm going to replace. So I've got to undo all of these. I did put some plus gas on the threads the other day just to try and preempt any problems. And at the back we've got some more here. So we've got a combination of ones like this that look reasonably easy to get to, and some that are, well, hidden down the back there. So some of them could be fun to get to. Okay, so I need to get to that bolt down there, but I've got this heat shield here which is in the way, so I'm going to have to take off the carburetor from the inlet manifold here, I think. Get that out of the way first. The old clamp was only a
pretty ropey pressed steel one as well. This is not as good as the new one. Also, there does seem to be hopefully some evidence there, certainly on this side, that the exhaust fumes have been coming out sideways, leaking out there, so I'm hoping this will cut down on the problems we're getting with carbon monoxide. Okay, I'm going to try and undo these nuts. Probably had a video of these going on somewhere earlier on, but here we go. Definitely going to be speeding this one up. Another painful undoing awkward nuts video. Actually they're bubbles, but never mind. So yeah, we're just trying to get rid of the carburetor and heat shield out of the way. There's always a temptation to put a spanner on a flat surface, and the flat surface, there's not many on a Morris Minor. One of the biggest flat areas is the battery, and that doesn't seem like a very good place to be putting, oh, apparently it isn't up, to be putting spanners that might short things out. Take the bottom one off. See if I can not drop that one. It's the top one. Okay, so let's pop that tube off and see if I can take the whole lot off together. Nice. Right. Oops. There's to be a load of moisture in there. Right. Probably not the neatest way of doing it. Okay. I'm going to have to take this off, and I can move that out of the way nicely. So let's pop that back on, and I can undo that. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. Undo this little clip there. Off. I've got a washer to catch on that side and several packing washers on the other side by the looks of it. Right, put them up safely out of the way. Okay, so this is it with everything out of the way. Right, so this one here is quite awkward to get to for some reason. Not getting a great connection onto the nut, but fortunately they don't have to be on that tight. Right. Do something bigger for the other ones. My trusty old 1/2-inch drive. So I've had this since I was 18, so it's done a few decades. I'm just going to nip these all off, loosen them all up. Okay. Need the other one. Now, they weren't very tight at all. According to the book, you only do them up to... That's not going to work, it's too short. Need a deep socket on that because of the stud sticking out. which you can't see. Right, that's better. Yeah, they only go up to setting of 15 anyway, so they don't have to be very tight, but maybe some of them were a little loose. And it'd be good to wind these all out. Stick a little pin ratchet on that. Right. I think it's coming off a little bit tighter than I would have liked. So I'm going to get a little brush and clean up some of the threads on the ones I can get to for the rest. See if these wind off. Right, that's pretty loose. Okay. So this is very similar setup to the Mark 1 Cortina. So you've got a big washer that goes between the inlet and outlet manifold, where it's a joint. I'll try and show you that in a minute so it'll make more sense. But one half of the washer goes on the inlet manifold and one half goes on the outlet exhaust manifold. So yeah, one of the other issues you can get, you're trying to get a good seal between the manifold and the engine, is if the manifold itself is warped. Oh, that's annoying. Wow, that's a really awkward one, that one. How did they manage to design that so awkwardly? Yeah, massive thick washers on these. Right, let's leave a gap on that one. Still got to work out how to get that one off. I guess I'll get a spanner in there. Oh, sorry, I'm really waffling today. Right, one more to get off. That's how to do it. Okay. Right, let's put that up there in order. So, let's rearrange you over here if I can. Now that I've stopped doing all the bolts so you can see it coming off. Right. Okay, so that's coming off. And this is what it looks like. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Maybe it's been coming through there. Doesn't look great. Right, now what I need to do before I fit the new one is take this off. Need to clean up all of this, so I'm going to give all of this a good clean up, and here clean all that up down there, make sure there's no bits sticking up, and then fit the new one. That was remarkably straightforward. Okay, so that took ages, but I've cleaned all of the manifold up at least. Now I've got to go and do the bit down there, so I'll probably leave this running for a minute while I do it. If I get bored, let me get bored. Be a bit careful not get anything into the balls that I don't want to go in there. Probably should cover up the, I might stick some tissue in here just to make sure nothing's going to go down there. We'll see. Bring it back when it's done. Okay, so I've completely lost the battery on the camera doing that, so I don't know where it got to. So I've been sticking some rag in the hole, going around the outside with a blade to get rid of all the old gasket. It seems to be the bit that's going to take the longest, and result that I filmed the least of it. It's a bit boring. But it's an important part of the job. Otherwise. Right, so on the backup camera, so at the moment I've just dry fitted the manifold gasket, and it's not a particularly great fit. It's bending somewhat, so I'm going to have to fettle the holes a bit and try and get that to fit better. Okay, so I've just taken a tiny bit off the side of these holes, here, here and here, and the actual gasket itself sits nice and flat now. I just thought I'd show you. This is the round file that I used to do it, and when I got the file it didn't have a handle on, so let's see, 30, well, a lot of years ago, much more than that, I put a handle on it, and this amazing handle you can grip like that has been on it for decades. Don't know why I shared that really, oh well. So we can now go about putting the nicely cleaned up manifold back on. I suppose I ought to go and check to see whether it's flat or not. Yeah, I might do that first. Let's just see. Make sure it's going to go on nicely. Yeah, so the bit I was going to show you earlier on was the split. So you've got a normal hole on the very ends, and then there's a split, so that's where the big washer is holding both inlet and outlet manifold on. So all four of the middle ones have got that arrangement, one stud and nut and washer holding both on. Okay, so I just checked it with a steel rule, and it actually looks pretty good. So, right, hang on. Okay, well, I'll just put some copperies on the threads. Make sure they don't feel horrible. Just need to wind these all back on. I think if I remember rightly, this one needed the manifold to be a bit loose to go on, so I'm not going to do these up very far until I've done this one. It's particularly awkward. When I took the nuts and washers off, I stored them in the same order up here on the battery, so they all go back on the same way, same direction, same place, just in case there's something odd going on. Never tell with an old car what's been done in the past. It's 54 years old now, so it's anything could have happened to it in that time. Certainly plenty has happened on it on the last 3 years, for sure. Right, just going to wind these all in finger tight. That one at the back is still a bit tight by hand. Maybe I didn't clean the thread up enough. These are all going in very nicely. Right, it's on. No, there's always one, isn't there? Hope I haven't cross-threaded that. Do try and be careful. I'm only using a tiny socket set on this. Wind that back in. I don't know if you can see this. Clamp on the tripod's in the way of the actual screen. So 15 was the setting. Let's just make sure these are up finger tight. I'm not even sure my normal torque wrench will go down to 15. I might have to judge that by hand. It'll be 15 pound-foot, won't it, because this is an old car. Okay, so we're back on the other camera that's recharged, because the other one I think ran out of storage. Just nipping this up still. Seems to be going quite tight, so I'm hoping this is deforming and nipping onto it tightly. Just swapping out to a deeper socket. Right. Okay, I don't think I want to go any tighter than that. Take my block out before I forget. Another dab of copperies on these threads. Well, one day someone's going to have to take them off, so let's make it easier. Right, and then that's the exhaust on, manifold back on, both manifolds together. I just need to pop the carb and all the linkages back on, so I'm going to have to move the camera because the carb's underneath the camera. So I've just worked out this all goes back like this. So the heat shield, which is to stop excess heat getting to the carb, particularly because unleaded fuel apparently runs hotter, so it feels like it's a good preventative preventative measure. That's the word. Oh, I can't get my words. It's been a long week. Right, let's pop that on. Now the bottom nut is more awkward, so that's going to go on first. as to sort of wind up with the body going in. Can't see a thing. I can't see a thing. You certainly can't see a thing where you are. But I've had this on and off a few times, so hopefully that's going in all right. What does that look? It's a really short thread there. That's really odd. Thread should not be that short. And it's tight up. I'm gonna have to pop that off and have a look. Don't understand. Well, didn't notice it before, but yeah, it's shorter by several turns, which is a bit odd. Oh well. Let's see if we can get enough threads on it. Try that again. Never straightforward. Always a bit of jiggling to do on these things. I'm going to stop recording there and pretend that that's all screwed up. Right, the nuts are on. I've got to remember a few things, like the vacuum advance to go back on, and that's back on. Then the other thing that I had to disconnect was this slightly awkward arrangement for the accelerator. Right, it is all back on now. Vacuum advance, didn't take any of the fuel off. That recirculating pipe is back on. The accelerator is all back on. The exhaust clamp is on down there somewhere. Let's try somewhere else. Can you see it down there? Hey. Okay, so everything's on. Nearly everything's on. Let's put that on. So everything's on. Always pays to check. Right. Yeah, I think we're good to do a test now. So this is a carbon monoxide detector, and it's actually a meter, so it'll give you a reading. So I'm going to use this to check the leaks are in here. Very low reading, and then down around the exhaust joint. So underneath the car there's a joint here. Nothing there. Nothing on that joint there. Check. to the tail at the back. So this is where you would expect to get reading, because that's why you don't sit with an engine running in a garage. So very, very quickly you see quite a massive reading. So you don't want to be breathing that in at all. So we're now sitting in the car, engine running, and unless I breathe on it, I'm not really getting anything, which is fantastic. So that means that, yeah, so there's nothing coming through from the engine bay itself, which is marvellous. And where we're sitting on the seats, we're not getting anything through, so it should feel a lot nicer to drive and much safer. So need to give it a road test to properly do it, but now the old engine is running again, we can do that. So that's it all back together and working now, and that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye for now.